The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God. Hello, Celestial Seekers. Today, we dive into the dramatic and awe-inspiring story of Elijah, the prophet of God who demonstrated supernatural speed and strength through divine power. In a time of great turmoil and drought in ancient Israel, the prophet Elijah stood firm against the tide of idolatry. The nation was torn between worshipping Baal and the one true God. Elijah, filled with divine purpose, challenged the prophets of Baal to a showdown on Mount Carmel. Imagine standing on that mountain, the air thick with tension. Elijah, a lone figure of unwavering faith, confronted 450 prophets of Baal. The challenge was clear: whichever deity could consume the offered sacrifice with fire would be proven as the true God. The prophets of Baal cried out, danced, and even cut themselves, but their God remained silent. Elijah, with calm assurance, stepped forward and prayed, "Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." As fire descended from heaven, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench, the people fell prostrate and declared, "The Lord, He is God, the Lord, He is God." This miraculous display rekindled the faith of the Israelites. If you're fascinated by these powerful stories, be sure to check out our other videos and join our channel, Celestial Chronicles, for more awe-inspiring tales from the Bible. The drought ends. After the dramatic victory over the prophets of Baal, Elijah turned his attention to another pressing issue: the severe drought that had plagued the land for 3.5 years. The ground was cracked, crops had failed, and the desperation of the people was palpable. It was a dire situation that demanded divine intervention. Elijah, with a heart full of faith, climbed to the top of Mount Carmel once more. This time, his mission was to pray for rain. He bent down to the ground, put his face between his knees, and began to pray fervently. The intensity of his prayer was a reflection of his unwavering belief in God's power to change the course of nature. "Go and look toward the sea," Elijah instructed his servant. The servant went and looked, but returned with a disheartening report: "There is nothing there." Unperturbed, Elijah sent him back. This cycle repeated 7 times. On the 7th trip, the servant saw a small cloud, no bigger than a man's hand, rising from the sea. How often do we lose hope when we don't see immediate results? Elijah's persistence and faith were key. He told his servant to go and inform King Ahab to hitch up his chariot and leave before the rain stopped him. What started as a small cloud soon grew into a dark mass, filling the sky. The wind picked up, and heavy rain began to fall, quenching the parched land and ending the long drought. The drought's end was a testament to Elijah's faith and the power of persistent prayer. It also reaffirmed to the people of Israel that their God was in control of all creation, capable of providing in times of need. This miraculous downpour not only nourished the land but also renewed the spiritual fervor of the nation, turning hearts back to God. Elijah's fervent prayer and the resulting rain remind us of the importance of perseverance in faith. What challenges in your life require such persistence? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to explore more on our channel and share your thoughts with the Celestial Seekers community. The miraculous run. As the sky darkened with storm clouds and the wind began to howl, Elijah experienced one of the most astonishing miracles of his prophetic career. Empowered by the Spirit of the Lord, Elijah prepared to run. He tucked his cloak into his belt, a sign of readiness and determination, and took off. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. King Ahab, meanwhile, was in his chariot, racing back to Jezreel to seek shelter from the impending storm. His horses, strong and swift, galloped at full speed across the rugged terrain. Yet, Elijah, on foot and without the aid of any horse or chariot, began to outrun Ahab's chariot. The distance from Mount Carmel to Jezreel was about 17 miles, a journey that would be challenging under normal circumstances, let alone in the middle of a storm. The sight must have been surreal: a lone prophet, his cloak flapping in the wind, running with supernatural speed that defied all logic and human capability. This was not merely an impressive physical feat, it was a clear demonstration of divine empowerment. Elijah's miraculous run was a testament to the power of God working through those who are faithful and obedient. What might the onlookers have thought as they witnessed this extraordinary event? Those who saw Elijah outpace the royal chariot would have been left in awe, recognizing that this was no ordinary man. His speed was a sign of God's intervention, a reminder that the Lord's power transcends natural laws. This event also reinforced Elijah's authority as a prophet of God. It showed that when God calls someone to a task, He provides the necessary strength and abilities to accomplish it, even if it means surpassing the capabilities of kings. Elijah's run to Jezreel symbolized the swift and unstoppable nature of divine power and presence. Reflecting on this story, we can ask ourselves, what limitations do we perceive in our own lives that might be overcome through faith and divine intervention? How can we be more open to the extraordinary ways God might work through us? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and let's continue this discussion together as a community. If you find these stories compelling, don't forget to check out more content on our channel and stay engaged with the Celestial Seekers. The arrival in Jezreel. When Elijah finally reached Jezreel, it wasn't just a simple arrival, it was a moment laden with significance and divine symbolism. Having outrun King Ahab's chariot over a distance of roughly 17 miles, Elijah's arrival was nothing short of miraculous. This event was more than a demonstration of physical prowess, it was a clear testament to the divine power working through him. Imagine the scene: the storm clouds were thickening, lightning flashed across the sky, and heavy rain began to pour down, turning the parched earth into mud. Amidst this dramatic backdrop, Elijah appeared at the gates of Jezreel. Those who saw him must have been astounded. How could a man, on foot, arrive before the king's chariot, especially in such treacherous weather conditions? The sight was incredible and undoubtedly sparked conversations and whispers among the townspeople. Elijah's arrival before the king symbolized more than just speed, it was a powerful indication of God's superiority over human strength and royal authority. In a society where kings were often seen as the ultimate power, Elijah's feat challenged this perception. It was a bold statement that God's power far exceeded that of any earthly ruler. The people witnessing this event were given a vivid reminder that divine intervention can upend the natural order of things. Furthermore, Elijah's dramatic entrance into Jezreel reinforced his role as God's chosen prophet. He was not just a man with a message, he was a living embodiment of God's miraculous power. His swift journey to Jezreel, propelled by divine strength, highlighted the urgency and importance of his prophetic mission. Elijah's presence in the city served as a stark reminder of God's involvement in the affairs of Israel, urging the people to turn back to him. This miraculous run and arrival also had a significant impact on King Ahab. Seeing Elijah arrive ahead of him, despite the king's head start with his swift horses, must have been a humbling experience. It was a clear sign that the God of Israel was not to be underestimated, even by the highest earthly authorities. This event likely left an indelible impression on Ahab, reinforcing the message that Elijah had delivered on Mount Carmel, that the Lord alone is God. Elijah's story encourages us to reflect on the ways God can work through us, often in unexpected and extraordinary ways. What are the impossible tasks in our lives that we can approach with faith, knowing that divine help is available? How can we remain steadfast in our missions, trusting that God will provide the strength we need? As you ponder these questions, feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Engaging with these stories together helps us grow in our faith and understanding. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to explore more on our channel and stay connected with the Celestial Seekers community. The lessons of faith and obedience. Elijah's story is full of powerful lessons on faith and obedience that are relevant even today. His unwavering trust in God, despite overwhelming challenges, serves as a model for all of us. Elijah didn't rely on his own strength or wisdom, instead, he put his complete faith in God's power and guidance. One of the most striking examples of Elijah's faith was during his confrontation with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Elijah stood firm. He knew that God was with him and that the outcome did not depend on human strength or numbers. Elijah's faith was unshakable because it was rooted in his deep relationship with God. He trusted that God would reveal himself and prove his supremacy over the false gods of Baal. When Elijah prayed for fire from heaven, he did so with complete confidence that God would answer. His prayer was not just words, it was a declaration of his faith in God's power. The fire that came down from heaven was a dramatic confirmation of God's presence and power, not just to Elijah but to all who witnessed it. This event showed that faith, when combined with obedience to God, can lead to miraculous outcomes. Another important lesson from Elijah's story is the importance of persistence in prayer. When Elijah prayed for rain to end the drought, he did not give up after the first or second attempt. He sent his servant back 7 times to check for any sign of rain. This persistence paid off when a small cloud, no bigger than a man's hand, appeared in the sky. Elijah's unwavering belief in God's promise kept him praying until he saw the result. This teaches us that we should not lose heart if our prayers are not answered immediately. Persistence in prayer, combined with faith, can bring about the fulfillment of God's promises. Elijah's obedience to God is another key lesson. He followed God's instructions even when they seemed difficult or dangerous. After his victory on Mount Carmel, Elijah received a message from God to go to Jezreel. Despite the risks involved, Elijah obeyed without hesitation. His obedience was a demonstration of his trust in God's plan. Elijah knew that God's instructions were always for the best, even if he didn't understand them fully at the time. The impact of Elijah's faith and obedience was profound. His actions turned the hearts of many Israelites back to God. They saw the power of the one true God through Elijah's life and miracles. This transformation was a direct result of Elijah's unwavering faith and obedience. It shows us that when we live out our faith and follow God's commands, our lives can have a significant impact on those around us. Reflecting on Elijah's story, we can ask ourselves, how strong is our faith? Are we persistent in prayer, even when answers don't come quickly? Do we obey God's instructions, trusting that He knows what's best for us? These are challenging questions, but they are crucial for our spiritual growth. Elijah's example encourages us to deepen our faith, be persistent in prayer, and obey God wholeheartedly. By doing so, we can experience God's power in our lives and make a positive impact on the world around us. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and let's learn from each other as we strive to follow Elijah's example. If you found this story inspiring, check out more content on our channel and stay connected with the Celestial Seekers community. Reflecting on Elijah's legacy. Elijah's legacy is one of incredible faith, divine power, and miraculous deeds that continue to inspire people even today. His life was a testament to what God can accomplish through someone who is obedient and faithful. By examining his actions and the events that marked his journey, we can draw valuable lessons and find encouragement for our own lives. Elijah's story begins with his bold confrontation against the widespread idolatry in Israel. At a time when worship of Baal was prevalent, Elijah stood firm in his faith in the one true God. This unwavering commitment led him to challenge the prophets of Baal to a dramatic showdown on Mount Carmel. Elijah's confidence in God's power was so strong that he was willing to stand alone against 450 prophets. The fire from heaven that consumed the sacrifice demonstrated God's supremacy and validated Elijah's faith and courage. Beyond this dramatic victory, Elijah's legacy includes his fervent prayer life. When he prayed for rain after a long drought, he showed a deep trust in God's timing and promises. Elijah's persistence, praying 7 times before the rain came, teaches us about the importance of perseverance in our spiritual lives. His example encourages us not to give up when answers to our prayers are delayed but to continue trusting in God's faithfulness. Elijah's miraculous run to Jezreel, empowered by the Spirit of God, is another remarkable aspect of his legacy. This event not only highlighted his physical endurance but also symbolized the swift and powerful nature of God's intervention. Elijah's ability to outrun Ahab's chariot was a vivid reminder that divine strength surpasses human capabilities. It underscores the idea that when we are on a mission for God, He equips us with the strength and abilities needed to fulfill it. Elijah's legacy also includes his moments of vulnerability and doubt, which make his story even more relatable. After his triumph on Mount Carmel, Elijah fled to the wilderness, fearing for his life. During this time, he experienced deep despair and questioned his purpose. God's response to Elijah's plight, providing him with food, rest, and gentle encouragement, shows us that even the strongest of God's servants need support and reassurance. This aspect of Elijah's story teaches us about God's compassion and the importance of caring for our own well-being. Reflecting on Elijah's life, we see a prophet who was deeply human yet profoundly used by God. His legacy is a powerful reminder that faith and obedience can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Elijah's story encourages us to stand firm in our beliefs, be persistent in prayer, rely on God's strength, and seek His comfort in times of doubt. As we consider Elijah's impact, we can ask ourselves, how can we apply these lessons to our own lives? What steps can we take to strengthen our faith and remain obedient to God's calling? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and let's learn from each other as we strive to follow Elijah's example. If you found this story inspiring, be sure to explore more content on our channel and stay connected with the Celestial Seekers community.